Before the emergency happened, for about a year, I noticed that he was having little accidents around the house, and he was having to go outside quite frequently, and his urine smelled really, really strong. And so I thought, in the back of my mind, I was like, I wonder what's going on. And then in the bathroom, he had a little accident, and there was little drops of urine, but it was blood. It just looked like just solid blood. And I just was so worried. I thought, I can't afford this. I was stressed out just about the office visit, let alone like what would come next. So I took him into the vet, and they said, oh, you can try to control it with a vegan diet, give him more liquid. And so I went home to try to do that because I couldn't afford, they wanted to thread something through his urethra and then kind of move any blockage or stone out of the way that they thought was there. I couldn't afford to get the testing done. And I thought, please let just this diet work. A couple days passed of me doing that. I was cooking him broth and soup at home. And then he couldn't urinate. He went outside, standing there for 5 minutes, couldn't relieve himself, and then it was just a couple drops that had blood in it. So then I went to Santa Cruz Vet for the emergency, and then I went in there and they saw him and they said he has stones that were blocking, so he couldn't relieve himself. And I was like, okay, well, how do we get rid of it? Like the diet? What do I do? Because I was already dreading just the office visit from the emergency vet. They came back and it was several $1,000s, and I thought, I didn't even know what to do. I knew that if it was anything above $500 that I wasn't going to be able to afford it. I didn't even have the $500, but I thought, okay, I can make something happen, move stuff around, beg my friends and family. And I thought, oh, I knew what was coming. I knew, like we were talking about earlier, making the choice of, okay, well, if it's an expensive vet bill that I can't afford, do I euthanize him, or do yeah, there was no choice of like, where could I get the money? It was either I have the money or I do the humane thing and euthanize him. But the best case scenario for me was, I thought, because I knew ahead of time I didn't have the money, and I thought maybe I could beg someone there, one of the doctors, to adopt him if they will pay for the surgery. Because I've heard of that before. Sometimes a vet will like a dog or something and they'll keep it, or the office will keep the dog, but you have to, and they'll rescue the animal and take care of the procedure, but you have to give them the animal. And I thought that was the most likely thing. And that was my best case scenario of, I'm going to have to give him away to someone who can take care of him and pay the vet bill. And I just thought that was my good outcome, like hoping like, okay, look really cute, impress the doctor so that she'll want to adopt you. And I thought, well, that's really sad. But I thought, well, if you love your animal, you want to do the best thing for your animal. And I thought, I'm not going to be selfish. I want to give him the best life possible. So that would be, to get him the help he needs and to, give him to whoever would take care of him at the vet. The vet or the medical assistant mentioned BirchBark, and I had heard about BirchBark before from a friend of mine, had posted about it on Facebook, that they reached out, or that people who are having issues could reach out to BirchBark, and if it's an emergency situation and, you meet the requirements, that they would potentially help out. So I called them and we started the process. And it was so stressful just sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, all of this because I don't have money. I can lose my best friend. And even more than that, like, he could lose his life. He's young. He wants to live his life. He likes running around and being happy. And it was like we were talking about earlier. It's just like if I got sick or a child got sick, we're lucky enough that hospitals have to take care of people, or we have insurance, or sometimes people even have to face that problem with humans. But with animals, society looks at it a little bit differently. So unfortunately, a lot of times people have to make that choice of, if they don't have the money, to euthanize their pet or to try to rehome them. So it ended up working out, and I was so grateful because the whole time I kept thinking, oh, what if I don't meet the criteria? I read it and I thought, okay, I meet that. But I thought, I was just scared. I was so scared, thinking, even after they approved me, I thought, oh, what if they overlooked something, or what if this doesn't go through? Or I got the approval from BirchBark, and I brought him in to do the surgery. It was around, I think it was like quoted $7,000 total, and they wanted me to pay 25%. And I thought, okay, he's going to be there for a couple days. I'm going to go on Facebook. I'm going to do GoFundMe. I'm going to put on my begging shoes and, you know, ask everyone I know. And then they wanted the money up front. And I brought him in and he'd fasted the night before. And I said, I don't have my portion. I thought I was going to do it upon pickup. So then we had to postpone it a day for me to get the money, which we were postponing it until I had the money. Luckily, I went home and I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do a GoFundMe. I had never done it before. I had no hopes or expectations. I thought, okay, I'm probably not going to get one donation. And within a couple hours, my goal was, I think, $1,100. It was the 25%. Within a couple hours, I was like, I had half of the goal. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was so touched by everyone who donated, people I didn't even know. Most donations were $50 to $100. I couldn't believe it. The next morning by noon, I had met my goal and went over it by $70, which was nice because GoFundMe takes a little portion and I didn't account for that. So I was able to get the money and then take him in. Because he had a blockage, they had to go in and do emergency surgery. So they had to cut through his stomach, through the abdominal muscles, and then through the bladder, and then open up the bladder, and then take out the big ones that they could see, and then scrape to get the little ones out, and then do, I think, an ultrasound to make sure they didn't miss any, and then go back in. And so they literally cut through the abdominal wall and the muscles. Yeah, it was really, really it was graphic when I saw him. I was like, wow, you went through a lot. When he came home, he had stitches all the way up his stomach. It was black and blue for a week. He was a trooper though. So now he has to be on a vegan diet because they don't want animal products in there, animal protein in there, and he has to have a lot of liquid so his urine isn't concentrated. So it was a really big deal. So I was so scared. And so when I saw him go to the bathroom after he got home for the first time, even though it's like I, had to hold him and then put him down, he was like, oh, I just felt really relieved and like, oh, thank you. It was just like this comfort, this calm set in, like that he was going to be okay. The whole thing was very stressful. I was in school at the time, going to Cabrillo. It was a really hard time. And I can't imagine what it would have been like if I would have had to either have my dog be euthanized, give my dog away. But the thing is, before that happens, of course you're going to try to come up with the money. And so I would have tried the best I could to come up with the $7,000, but I know that I would not, or at least I highly doubt that I would have been able to do it. So before you euthanize your animal, you go through the stress and the hope and all that of trying to get the money, trying to save them because they're your best friend and because you are empathetic and you just want them to have a good life. And then you're faced with the choice or the decision of, oh, let them suffer and, die, or euthanize them. I'm sure you guys hear this all the time, but it makes such a difference in people's lives. Having the thought that you're with your best friend one day and then the next day that, you're going to be taking them to get cremated and, what spot on the shelf are they going to sit on? What music are you going to play? Things like that, having that go through your mind. And then the next day, having it all work out it takes such a weight away and it brings such peace and happiness to people that it really does change their entire life. Our animals are like our children, our best friend, they're family members. So to step in and have someone help in that way is life-changing, is huge. It just makes all the difference. I can't even come up with the words to express how I feel. I just want to take the feeling from my heart and be like, no, do you understand? But it means a lot. And I was really grateful, and I would be just excited to see BirchBark continue on for a long time and see them help as many people as possible with their pets.